Back in the early days of TikTok, Lucky Scoop videos were a really popular content type on the platform. In these videos, a content creator would position themselves in front of a bin or a pool of products, and viewers would pay the creator to scoop products from the pool or the bin. Lucky Scoop videos crossed a lot of genres, but they were most popular with makeup, stationery, and in rocks and gems. In today's video, I'm going to mention some Lucky Scoop creators, but we're largely going to be focusing on makeup content and makeup scoops. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a little bit of the TikTok history with you because this did impact the decline of Lucky Scoops on TikTok and then the rise of Lucky Scoops on Instagram. We're also going to be looking at the gamification and gambling aspects of Lucky Scoops and how they combine with overconsumption. Because Lucky Scoops at their core and how they appear on social media, they are a category of content that hinges on overconsumption. Bulk buying is a central element of these Lucky Scoop videos. The psychological effects of shopping and gamification, potentially gambling, can combine together to incentivize people to spend more money than they might ordinarily. Really talking about these videos with the lens of overconsumption. One of you alerted me to these scooping videos back, I think in November. They're also a super interesting content type to me. The Lucky Scoops are a spin-off of the Japanese tradition of the lucky bag or the fukubukuro. Very sorry if I did not pronounce that correctly. And these are bags of miscellaneous items. I'm saying miscellaneous because they could be a lot of things, and also how they are compiled, what's included, does depend on the seller. And we do also have more prominent brands or Japanese brands, although it's not always Japanese brands, who will be selling a lucky bag around the New Year time because they are a tradition, a Japanese tradition that happens around the New Year's. And according to my research, it's a Japanese custom or tradition to start one's New Year's off with a bit of luck. If you are somebody who has more experience or knowledge about lucky bags, I would really love to hear from you. One of the other types of content that is kind of in this vein are the mystery boxes. Those exist in a lot of spaces like beauty and fashion. I've seen these with beauty brands like ColourPop, who will bundle together some random products. And I think also do take or have a little bit of that original spirit of the lucky bags, because one of the reasons, at least that I was researching, was why people put them together is to sell unsold merchandise. And that is generally the case with the mystery boxes. Sometimes they're not that way. I've also seen this with fashion boxes where a creator or a company, thrifters, a lot of the time thrifters, I've seen this with vintage sweaters or certain style genres, and you could buy a mystery box of 3 to 5 items. And I've seen people unbox these as well. I'm typically not a fan of the mystery boxes because they become more about the allure of what could be instead of reality or what is. And I am not dunking on the concept of the lucky bag, most especially if it is a tradition, but I think that companies have taken this, whether they're Japanese or not, but there are definitely cultural elements when it is more divorced from Japanese culture or tradition. The Lucky Scoops take this to a new level. It's more about quantity and gamification, and the gamification being used to encourage people to buy more stuff. These videos were extremely popular on TikTok until about mid-2023, and it was the live streams of the Lucky Scoops that were the most popular, like an entire community built around the live streams. And some of these streamers would stream for days, or there would be a company that would have rotating hosts. We are going to first take a look at a scooping video from 2022, so you can see the context of the time.
8 lip gloss. Lucky Scoops for Brandy.
So this video showed somebody doing 8 scoops in a vat of lip gloss, and the person got 132 lip glosses, which is insane. Some of these original videos from the early 2020s, they really focused on quantity and scooping quantity when we're talking about the videos that were in feed. And it was really common to see somebody scoop 5, 10, scoops in a row. There's another video, which I might just play as I'm talking, that did 11. Was it 11 scoops? I think it was 11 scoops. And people in the comments of that video were requesting 5 scoops, 15 scoops, even 20 scoops. And arguably you could say, well, this isn't real. Like, somebody could very easily make up somebody named Brandy and scoop just for fun, but the impact on the customer is real, or the potential viewer is real. So if you went through approximately 10 lip glosses a year, which is possible for some people, that's 13 years of lip gloss. That is insane. And this is really, when we're talking about quantity of this size, it's not about the stuff, and it's about the fun and the pleasure and the gamification of it all. The Lucky Scoops were banned in 2023. Specifically, the live streams were what was targeted. And they were found to be a violation of TikTok's anti-gambling guidelines. And one thing to note about TikTok's guidelines is that if you go to their page, they have different guidelines for each country. And so I focused on the American guidelines because a lot of these scoopers were, in my opinion, targeting Americans, which does have something to do with who does or doesn't have TikTok, but then also where people ship to and their shipping policies. The enforcement of these guidelines did impact the community. And even though content could still be made, in-feed content could still be made, and there are people who are still making it, the interest in this content did wane. It did appear that it was, in fact, the live streams that were the draw for the community. Some argued that it was just entertainment and not gambling, which, gambling can still be entertainment, even when it is strict gambling. Others argued that there's people's livelihood at stake, and you can't just shut down people's accounts and have people lose their businesses, and that's not fair. There are also arguments about whether TikTok should be in the business of regulating gambling, which many people do view as more of a moral thing. You wouldn't want to promote or encourage gambling for moral reasons, and gambling exists offline. Sports betting has probably never really been bigger than it is now. Sports betting in North America is booming because it, in the past few years, became legal. What is clear is that this did affect the community and is one of the reasons why people, in my opinion, shifted from TikTok to Instagram. Although people could still make scooping content, the interest and popularity of these videos were not the same as they were before. So to look at the guidelines, I'm going to put a photo of the TikTok guidelines for the US on the screen. And this appears to violate the rewarded gambling and online non-casino games. Although it is possible for some gambling content to appear on TikTok, you're much more at the mercy of TikTok's discretion than it was before. Previously, there was a much lower barrier to entry, if no barrier to entry, to making these videos or these live streams. The gambling context matters here, not for the moral argument, but because of the addictive argument. Gambling and gamification. We're going to look at some studies later on after we take a look at some more modern or contemporary examples. We're talking about gambling because of the psychological effects of gambling and the pleasure and reward mechanisms that are present in gambling. You can still be psychologically impacted. Even if something is not strict gambling, you can get them from gamification, which is why, when we look at people's habits as an example, it's why people use some of these principles to their advantage, to use reward mechanisms and pleasure and thrill-seeking elements to their advantage, to incentivize them to take certain actions. And so that is true here as well. The live streams are, I think, much more of a gray area of whether they're gambling or not, because it's incentivized action more so than the typical scooping videos. And that's because there were incentives and rewards, like we'll refill the pot if we get this many likes, or they'll put in specialty items of a specific value that was higher than the rest, which is more in the realm of gambling. The more traditional scooping videos, especially with things like stationery items or lip glosses, when things are of approximately equal value, like the lip glosses that were shown in that video range from about 33 cents. Those clear ones were 33 cents to about $1. Some specialty ones might be a little bit more than that, but we're talking like maybe $2. And then other categories of items like eyeshadow might be a little bit more. But if things are of an approximately equal value, you're not trying to hunt or get a specific kind of item. And so I don't think that those traditional scooping videos are gambling, but they are still incentivized spending and still use gamification to their advantage. One of the accounts we'll look at later does run a lottery or a raffle, and casino games, lotteries, and bingos are examples of gambling. And I really wonder about this. Like, bingo is a common game for children, but is still technically gambling. We also have claw machines at arcades, which kind of is in this realm as well. And I think that part of what could be at play here are cultural attitudes and norms around some of these games. In the last year and a half since TikTok guideline changes, a lot of people have moved over to Instagram. Some people were posting on both, other people started their Instagram accounts after these rule changes, and people who are on Instagram tend to be bigger on Instagram than on TikTok, which is not usually the case. Typically, we see people who are bigger on TikTok than on Instagram. One such example is Kaya Scoops, who does have a TikTok account in 2025. She created her Instagram account in about mid-2023. And her Instagram has 159,000 followers, but her TikTok has about 54,000. Another really popular scooper, probably the biggest makeup scooper at the moment for English-speaking audiences anyway, is Lucky Girl Scoops. She has 259,000 followers on Instagram, but about 41,000 followers on TikTok. I think part of why these scoopers are so big on Instagram is because of this decline on TikTok. We're now going to take a closer look at one of the really popular makeup scoopers on Instagram, Lucky Girl Scoops. She makes a variety of scooping content, but it's all largely beauty, including some hair care, but she has recently branched out into some themed scoops like Halloween scoops or Valentine's Day scoops. We're now going to take a look at her restocking her lip gloss scoop so we can see what she's putting in her scoops. And then we're going to talk about the scoops themselves. I did some digging and I went to go looking for some of her products to see approximately how much these things cost. The first lip gloss that we saw, which is the Broadway lip glosses, that company has a bunch of different styles of lip gloss. And depending on the style, which I'm mentioning because she doesn't just feature this one ever, like in some of her restocks or other videos, she has featured other ones. They wholesale for about 66 to 88 cents each. There is a lip scrub in here. It's the Amuse lip scrub. You can buy 24 pieces for $24, which makes them $1 each. Another example is the Starry Honey lip gloss, which is $36 for 36, making them also $1 each. And this, by the way, are prices that I've been able to find. So there is a potential that she's been able to get them for cheaper. There's another lip gloss. It's the Magic Rainbow Sugar lip gloss. They're $18 for 24 pieces, making them about 75 cents each. There is one that I believe to be more expensive, the one in the package, the box, which I think was about $2 or $3 each. So when we are looking at the different types of glosses, and that one doesn't represent all of them, but a lot of her glosses are in the 75 cents to $1 range. So if we call each of her lip glosses $1, which I think is fair. Now we're going to go to her lip gloss scoops. You can see that she has a bunch of different stuff, like the Valentine's Day scoops, $43. We're going to talk about more of this stuff. A custom junk phone case for $70. Okay, lucky lip gloss scoop. We're in for. So the sample scoop of 3 to 4 lip glosses, which we would call $3 to $4 of approximate product, is $11.91. The tiny scoop, 6 to 7 products, $21.63. Mini scoop, 11 to 14 products for $40.39. Basic, 18 to 22 glosses, $57.71. Deluxe scoop, 28 to 34 lip glosses, $98. Deluxe scoop with hand, which she says is best value, 38 to 44 lip glosses. Insane. 44 lip glosses at one time. Literally insane. The shipping is not part of her pricing. I went through to double check, so it's going to be cost to you to ship unless your order is over $150 and she covers shipping. It's not so impossible that somebody could hit $150, but when you look at what you're getting, like 44 items for $150, I don't know, I would personally not be tempted to buy more, but I definitely can't speak for everybody. So this basic scoop, 18 to 22 items, right? Like let's say you got the max 22 items. It's about $22 worth of lip gloss. You're being overcharged by like more than double. I get that this is a business, that she has overhead and she has shipping supplies costs. I get it. She has her own labor in there. I understand. But this doesn't change the fact that these are $1 lip glosses. Like, you are being overcharged. And if anybody says this is how businesses work, price gouging people is not okay regardless of business. And this is not something like just because something happens elsewhere means that it's okay. No. To be fair to her though, in this specific field, her prices are not out of the norm, and she's not charging 5 to 10 times more or even 2 to 3 times more what other people are charging. She is doing what is normal in this space. In my opinion, the label of these scoops as well is it's incentivizing people to get more. To call 3 to 4 lip glosses, which is more than some people buy in purchase, we're calling that a sample. Somehow 3 to 4 items is a sample. 18 to 22 being basic. 11 to 14 is a mini. 14 lip glosses is mini. This basic scoop is bigger than some people's entire lipstick collections. She positions the deluxe scoop with hand as the best value, which is $115. It's $115 for at most 44 lip products. Even if this is a great value, insane value, nobody needs to bring in 44 lip products at one time. Nobody. Average consumers anyway. And I highly doubt makeup artists are going to be using this as a tool to fill their kit. It doesn't matter if you like them all or they're amazing or they're cute. You don't need to bring in 44 lip products all at once. And I'm just going to give you a frame of reference. Just me. At my height, the most amount of lip gloss I ever used in one year was about 11. And my second most was 7. And so if we went with my 11 a year example, which I was only able to maintain once, but we'll just use that number. would take me 4 years of exclusively using these products in order to finish them. Just think about that. 4 years to finish this stuff. I think her lip gloss scoops are her most favorite, most popular scoops. And in all of her scoops, generally, she showcases the basic, the deluxe, and the deluxe with hand. Those are like almost the only scoops that get shown on her page, which, like, the more you get used to it, the more you see something, the more it becomes normal for you. So if you're seeing this scoop, like you're following her page, the more you see it, the first time you watch it, you might see this as kind of crazy. Oh my God, it's a lot of stuff. The more you see it, the less crazy it seems, and the more normal that it seems. And then all of a sudden, 44 lip glosses is not really that big of a deal. You know, she could be making up scoops, and they might not be representative of real people. We don't know if each scoop is a real person, and whether or not you want to give her the benefit of the doubt is, you know, it's going to be up to you. I was inclined to say no at first, that these were just, you know, like, I could make up a name and I could say Carly ordered a deluxe scoop and give an order number that's not real, you know, to show people what they look like. That's a marketing tool, right? But it also implies that people are ordering and that you could order too. But people are actually ordering from her though. So even if some of them are not real, at least some of them are. Pages like this promote overconsumption via the gamification. Because it's all technically a mystery, this stuff and what you get doesn't really matter when you're buying the scoop, because you don't know what you get. And it's the thrill and the excitement at what could be that encourages people to buy stuff, including the quantity and the deal that you could be getting. She has expanded into other categories, as I was mentioning, the themed categories. And right now she has Valentine's Day scoops going on, and I'm going to show you one of those now. So her Valentine's scoops come in 3 sizes, which is the basic 7 to 10 items, the deluxe 12 to 14, and deluxe scoop with hand is 12 to 18 items. It's currently sold out, but she did say they're going to be restocked. And random stuff comes in here. Well, let's watch one.
Let's scoop another order for Perla. Perla ordered 1 basic Valentine's Day scoop, 1 basic face mask scoop, and 1 deluxe hair accessory scoop with hand. Here's everything she got in her order. Thank you so much for shopping again, Perla. I hope you love everything you got in your scoop, and I can't wait to scoop another for you soon.
These themed scoops are extra enticing because they play on the seasonality aspect of what's happening at a given moment. Right? She had Halloween, and now we have Valentine's Day. And she's increased the gamification by putting in lucky balls, which you saw her pull out there was an eyeshadow palette or a highlighter. And so those, because you can't see what's in them, that is the extra layer of gamification. The stuff that you get in these though are both cheap and random. There's lots of hair accessories, clips and hair ties, hair bows or hair scarves. There's a hat in there, socks in there. So we looked at the first order, which had the gamification aspect, and you could see some of the stuff that was in there. And then the second one, where she had 3 different scoops. There was the Valentine's Day scoop, the face mask scoop, and the deluxe hair scoop with hand. So these 3 scoops cost $146.81, and she got approximately 50 items in her scoop at one time. So the Valentine's Day scoop cost $43.18, the mask scoop cost $17.26, and the hair scoop cost $86.37. It can be tempting to say that $146 is a great deal for 50 items, because if we say even that's $150, that's $3 an item, which is arguably a great price. And so while this is overpriced for the stuff that you are getting, like the actual quality of the thing, it is a good price for the quantity. Like you could say, oh, if you went into Sephora or even the drugstore, you could not get anywhere near 50 items. 2 items at Sephora can cost you $150. And while this is true, Sephora or the drugstore does not predicate their business on bulk buying. You don't need to buy 20 items in order to purchase from Sephora at all, or the drugstore. I'm not trying to say that traditional businesses are great or perfect. No, but this is a business that requires you to make a minimum purchase to participate. People get hooked on deals and quantities, and you get both of these things out the wazoo. But you're buying stuff that nobody ever really needs in quantities that nobody really needs either. And there are other creators who don't even tell you how much you get or allow you to make smaller purchases. One such example is Stir of Beauty. Her prices are like $40 for a scoop. Stir of Beauty used to my knowledge, almost exclusively make scooping content, but she has branched out into making other kinds of content. Like she resells fast fashion items and has kind of been making more, she's been making more of that kind of content. There are other accounts that do Lucky Ball content, and Lucky Ball content feels more kind of gambling, as I was mentioning before, because you don't know what you're going to get. Like you can't see it, and it is much more of a game of chance than with lip glosses. And so Lucky Balls are similar to Lucky Scoops, but instead of having all the individual items in a pot, you have the balls in the pot. And this is a type of scooping business that would have lower overhead. So you would have fewer things that are visible and fewer things to scoop. And then you could have a smaller stock of stuff that is separate and refill on potentially a higher basis instead of having a lot of inventory. We're going to watch a TikTok creator who sells self-defense items who does this. She doesn't exclusively do Lucky Balls. You can buy sets of stuff, but one of the things that she offers is Lucky Balls. So let's watch one of her videos. Okay, I think that's enough. One of the reasons why I want to show this video is because there are lots of repeats in here. So if you're doing this Lucky Ball thing and you happen to get 2 of the same thing, you're just going to get them both. And like, what are you supposed to do with 2 beer bottle openers? Or what are you supposed to do with multiple lights or kitty knuckles or things like that? Most people don't need 2 of these things. Some people don't even need 1 of these things. So with these scoops, you can order them in 3, 5, 10, or 15 item scoops, and you can pick your color. So a 3 item scoop is $13.60, and then the 15 item scoop is $42. However, this account charges $19.99 to post this video onto TikTok. So all these videos that you see are people who've paid to have their video posted, and the account on TikTok gets tagged, so you know that they are a real person. Or I guess maybe not you know for sure, but there's a greater likelihood that there is a real person behind it. Now, as I mentioned, with this specific account, you can order a set of stuff, but these sets they're like 12 or 24 pieces. They're like $60. They're kind of expensive. However, the owner also does post a ton of Lucky Scoops and gets people drawn into the account with them. And this is an account with the Lucky Balls that can still draw in millions of views per video, which is crazy that they get to make the money off of the video, but then they're also charging people to post it. All of these scooping businesses promote overconsumption and bulk buying. This is especially the case for creators who are exclusively scoopers. That's all you see on their page, right? All you see is scooping, or maybe 90% of their content is scooping. And that you see large scoop after large scoop, and we already talked a little bit about the implications and ramifications of that. Buying all of this stuff, buying stuff in excess quantities, and this is excess. Buying 20 lip glosses, this will not make you happier. It won't make you enjoy your stuff or enjoy the process of the things that you bought. You're not going to be any happier because you bought 20 lip glosses. Your life is not going to be better or more changed. Even if you think it's going to add variety to your life or you get to try new products, that is generally short-lived, and people don't typically have long-term appreciation for this stuff. We talked about this in a video last week on the hedonic treadmill, where in a lot of cases, after you buy something, even if it's something that you highly anticipate, it does not change your life long term, and you do not appreciate that thing long term, and life goes back to just as it was before, and your stuff becomes white noise. And buying this stuff in bulk has the potential to come with more negatives than positives, and that's given the circumstance in which you can't afford it. What happens if you don't like some of this stuff? And then you have duplicates or triplicates. You do not get to select any of these items, so now what? I've had backups of stuff, even just one backup, and a lot of people don't carry backups of stuff because their preferences change and they don't want to be using the same thing 5 times over. What if it doesn't work, or it's not your color, or the formula sucks? Now you have 3 things. And then with the Valentine's Day stuff, right? This is not finishable stuff for the most part. This is permanent stuff. This is stuff with a footprint. Same with the self-defense stuff. These are permanent items. Resources were expended to create them. You are now the proud owner of 12 heart clips or new heart socks and headbands. Do you really want to own that thing 3 years down the line? People probably aren't thinking about this stuff 3 years down the line, especially if it's cheap. Will it even last that long? Do you really want to own 20 heart-themed accessories? Or were you bored? Or did you just want the thrill and excitement of getting a mystery bundle? So now let's talk about why the gambling aspect matters at all. The main reason why this matters is because gamification is being used to entice people to make purchases, and not just shop, like buying one thing, but making purchases of large quantities. And it combines addictive qualities of gambling with addictive qualities of shopping. Or we could say the pleasurable qualities of gambling and the pleasurable qualities of shopping. When looking at studies on gamification across different types of games and use cases, what is shown time and time again is that gamification increases customer loyalty, most especially because people are invested in the outcome. In one study, and I quote, "Gamification is a method of increasing stakeholder motivation, participation, and contribution based on the psychology and internal motivation of the target audience, resulting in desired outcomes." This particular study proposes that game components and narratives be used to completely utilize users' deep-rooted incentives, thereby motivating or modifying their behavior. When looking at gamification's ability to incentivize action or behavior, it was found that gamification did impact end results. This study looks at increasing comments and reviews on websites. This is just an example. Gamification elements on e-commerce websites can be used to promote the generation of content and user loyalty. Due to gamification, users comment on products, provide reviews, and share content. If we consider the specific ratios, gamification can lead to an increase in the number of comments on products, shared content, questions, and answers, active users, and repeat visits. Samsung Nation increased its customer product review by 500% and site visits by 66%. Teleflora increased traffic by 105% and conversion rates by 92%. And measurements of IBM's long-term engagement has shown a 299% increase in comments posted. Now, this is not the same use case, but it is the psychological impacts and incentivization that is present in gamification in these circumstances that also exist outside of it. When we look at the definition of gambling, which is playing games of chance for money or betting or taking risky action in the hope of desired result, they do fit in here. At their core, Lucky Scoops are games of chance, given that there is a wide selection of product, and the entire point of the scoop is the randomness or the chance of getting any number of items, any combination of items, or even a quantity of items. However, how risky you call this action to be is probably low, and would probably say that they are low stakes. Although they're not highly risky behavior, they are still a game of chance, and the psychology of gambling can still be in effect here. When we look at gambling, it's argued that it is cognitively similar to drugs. Gambling activates the brain's reward system, which is powered by dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter inside the brain that reinforces sensations of pleasure and connects the sensations to certain behaviors or action. Gambling can affect the part of our brain that releases dopamine, a feel-good hormone that creates feelings of pleasure and reward. When we win a bet, our brains give us an emotional reward. I have two examples that discuss gambling and the reward impacts on our brain. The psychological effects of gambling are largely related to pleasure and dopamine, which are also similar to shopping. Shopping also activates our brain reward systems, which is exactly what was being discussed with the gambling. These two things on their own can incentivize behavior via the reward system, but can interact with each other. Shopping, gambling, and gamification are all things that can activate the brain's reward center and give you thrill and pleasure. Enjoying shopping or gambling or partaking in them in generally does not inherently make you addicted, nor am I trying to say that you will get addicted. The overall, perhaps, concern here is using highly pleasurable activities in combination to increase purchasing. You can just call that marketing if you'd like, but I think the psychological impacts on people, right, and the pleasure and the thrill of it impacts people's buying. It incentivizes them to make purchases that they might not have. Even if we just look at it, it's a fun thing to do and it's novel, it's a novel way to shop, that encourages people to make a purchase more than the thing itself. The gamification aspect and the shopping aspect can encourage problematic shopping behavior, can encourage risky purchasing or impulsive purchasing, all in the name of fun. We also, as mentioned, have the layers of deals and excess quantity, right? Like, it's not just fun, but you're going to have fun buying a lot of stuff for a great value. There are a lot of intersecting elements here. We can get caught up in overconsumption, and we can introduce new aspects of shopping that we might not have encountered before. Whether or not you've encountered this before is definitely going to depend on the person. Some people who have more exposure to lucky bags, lucky scoops, lucky balls, this might not be the new or novel thing as it might be for others. And the entertainment factor can keep people entertained and keep people engaged and invested in this kind of content. And the gamification combined with shopping, it can encourage repeat behavior and impulsive behavior as well. Both shopping and gamification are highly pleasurable and create highs or buzzes in partaking in them. And how vulnerable you might be is going to depend on your own circumstance. So to conclude, if you are somebody who can live vicariously through this content, like watching this content kind of gets your fill without participating in it, you're probably fine. Like, you're probably cool. If you find that this content creates a negative desire or encourages you to shop, even if it's not partaking in the scoop, then perhaps this content is not for you. This is overconsumption for entertainment, and each of our susceptibility to that and how it influences us is going to be our own. So with that said, this was a long video and I enjoyed making it. I enjoyed looking into Lucky Scoops. It's a really like interesting corner of the internet. And I would like to hear from you. Have you had experiences using Lucky Scoops, buying from them, watching this kind of content? Love to hear all of your thoughts on that and your experiences. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today. I would love it if you would subscribe to catch more content like this, and I hope to see you again around here soon.